Thursday morning. I got a really funky Facebook Live setup right now. If you guys could see it, you'd probably laugh. So if it all comes crashing down, don't worry, I'm fine. And I will have to resituate it for next week, but we're giving it a shot. So today I'm going to talk about a little bit about colon health. Not the funnest or even a topic we usually talk about in public, but some of you know, super important and personally important topic to me. Actually, this week, right now, I'm coming up on my 2-year anniversary of being cancer-free in my colon and everywhere in my body, but specifically there since a couple years ago I was diagnosed with colon cancer. If you want to hear more about that and how to keep your colon healthy, and if you have to get, sorry, I'm just trying to dodge the sun here. If you want to learn about some tips on how to prepare for colonoscopies, endoscopies, what the doctors actually look for in those things, what polyps are, all that kind of fun stuff, then head over to the Ignite Your Wellness podcast. I interviewed Dr. Cave, and I'm so honored that he was able to come on the podcast interview, because he's actually my colonoscopy doctor, and he's the one who caught my colon cancer. It was my very first screen. I was very new to Lynch syndrome and understanding what it was. I only went to the colonoscopy. Good morning. Hope everyone is doing well. Comment below if you've had any questions you want to go over, or anything on the topic of your colon or your low back. That's kind of what we're talking about this morning. So yeah, I was very new to the whole process, had never had a colonoscopy before, thought I was relatively healthy, all that sort of stuff, and I'm so glad that they pushed me to go, and I did go, and all that sort of stuff, since the outcome of catching the cancer, if it was not caught as early as it was, then it could have been a very different outcome. So if you want to hear more about that, just head over to the podcast, Ignite Your Wellness. You can search it in Apple or iTunes, Apple or Spotify, any of the major platforms. This morning here, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper. Dr. Cave and I were talking after we jumped off the interview that how the health of the colon can actually really impact how you feel in your low back. And that's what I see a lot of people in the clinic for, is issues in their low back. And it might not be like an issue that's so severe that stops you in your tracks or really prevents you from enjoying the things that you do in life, but it could be this issue that kind of comes and goes, flares up every so often. It's just really unpredictable, and you're worrying about it getting worse, what happens as you age, that sort of thing. And it's really important not only to check what's going on in your low back specifically, but also to look at what's going on in front of the spine, which is not often thought about. You know, we think, oh, okay, I have this low back issue. It's not too crazy. Every so often I might feel this thing down my leg or feel a crankiness, but it's just because I sat too long. We don't often think about what's happening in front of the spine. I'm just going to shut this blind. Hold on one second. Okay, now I can see without the sun blinding me. So it is important to check what's going on in the colon, which sits right in front of the spine, if you think about it. So if there's any inflammation there, any issues there, sometimes it can cause more pressure through the front body, or just excessive inflammation. And as you know, in the body, it's a space issue. So if there is lack of space, it can cause discomfort in the low back, or it can exacerbate nerves or decrease space around nerves, all that sort of thing cause stiffness. So diet and colon health is really a huge part of how you might feel in your low back. So for example, let's take someone that maybe is constipated every so often. It's important to track, and they have low back discomfort that comes and goes. They might not even realize that, on those days when they are really constipated, those are the days their low back flares more. And you might be able to find a correlation that was really never connected before, because for your colon, for your gastro health, you go to a gastroenterologist. For your low back, you might go to a PT. But do the specialties ever really connect and talk or put two and two together? Not all the time. So I do work with people that have restrictions in their colon, and it could be because they've had a surgery. It could be because they have IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, with excessive inflammation. It could be because they have colitis, Crohn's disease, an autoimmune thing. You have to remember too, the female organs are right there. So if they have endometriosis with a lot of scar tissue, all this stuff going on, if there's restrictions, inflammation, soreness here, it can definitely affect how it feels in the low back. So even though if you're doing all the right things for the back, keeping the core strong, your hips mobile, your hips strong, traction, space, flexibility, all this kind of stuff, if you're still never addressing the viscera, what's going on in the front, then you'll never really fully heal the back. So that's one thing I want to talk about today, especially with the holidays coming up, and there's a larger intake of sugar. I'm totally guilty myself, but sugar, as some of you may know, really fuels that inflammatory process and can slow down our digestive system and throw off our gut health. So that can really impact how we feel, not only in the low back, but all our joints. So not to say that you shouldn't partake in fun holiday festivities, just notice that, the choices you make might have a certain outcome. So you might want to prepare for that if you're sensitive to that kind of thing. Like, okay, well, if I am going to go to this holiday party, I might feel this way afterwards. So how can I prepare for that? How can I kind of get myself back on track and flush all that out and reduce the inflammation? So it might be something that you've never really planned for in the past, but if you can start to do that, it might help the outcome. Or maybe just choosing less of the sugary or like flourly, is that a word? Baked goods that have a lot of flour and that sort of thing. So or dairy is another one that can really slow the digestive process, and there's usually a ton of dairy in the holiday treats. So if you have any specific questions about colon health or low back health, just reach out to me. If you have a specific topic that you'd like to talk about next week, let me know. If you want to dive into the low back deeper, then head over to my website or message below, or send a message to me personally. I have a free online masterclass coming up on the low back, where I'm going to go over tips on how to give you confidence, so you're not worrying about going to yoga or going on a hike. What's the outcome going to be? Am I going to be laid up the next day? You're going to have more confidence and know what can help you, what won't. The thing that I hear a lot about from patients and people with low back issues is that they start these Google searches, right? And so then they're watching a YouTube video here, signing up for this there, going to see this practitioner or that practitioner, and they're piecemealing all this stuff from all these different sources, all these different YouTubes, Google links, all that sort of stuff. And then they get really overwhelmed and confused because there's a lot of conflicting information. There's no order or sequence of events. How do you know what to do when you're flared up versus like when you're actually getting momentum and healing? If you're really looking for one source to like pull all the information together to take you through a step-by-step process, so you know, have someone there to ask your questions and reach out to me, because after the new year I'm going to have a huge launch on a low back course where I bring it all together. It's the Heal Your Low Back Blueprint. So I'm super excited about it. The masterclass will get you started with it. So if you're interested in any of that, just head over to the website, igniteyourwellness.com. Under classes, there's the free online masterclass. Just get yourself registered so you can save your spot. And I'll see you in class or in some upcoming workshops I have. Just this Saturday, I'm going to be in Chula Vista teaching on the knees. And then the following Saturday, December 14th, I'm going to be here in Encinitas at Gather Yoga Studio talking about the psoas, which directly relates to the low back. Also, we talk a lot about the nervous system, reducing anxiety, and just how that can reduce chronic pain in the body overall. So that's going to be a big fun one on December 14th. And then I have a couple after the new year, right after the new year at Prana. So if you want to start your 2020 taking care of yourself, filling your cup up, you can come down to Prana for a workshop on the low back, the SI joint specifically. And January 18th, I'm going to be at Yoga Del Mar talking about scoliosis. So a ton of chances to take action, get started. If you feel hesitant, you're not sure what to do, but you want to do something, reach out to me. I'm here for you. I'll help you get started in something. Okay, I hope you all have a great week and had a great Thanksgiving. Message me and let me know how it was. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.